Many of you might be asking yourselves, what in the name of sweet holy hell are we looking at right now? For those listening on podcast format, we are staring at someone who is clearly a man with a mustache, wearing a park ranger hat and outfit uniform, stupid Viva, with the things you put on your wrists when you play racket sports that are in the gay pride formation. His tag literally says gay, and now we shall play the words of the man.
Some carry hate. We carry the largest trans pride flag to ever be flown in a national park and unfurled it on the side of El Cap to prove a point that trans is natural. The Trump administration and transphobes would love to have you believe that being trans is unnatural, but species that can transition sexes can be found on every continent and in every ocean on planet Earth. So call it a protest, call it a celebration. We are bringing elevation to liberation. They try to erase us from government websites and education systems and libraries. So we raise this flag higher than ever before so every trans person knows that they have people that love them in their corner. The people united will never be defeated.
Okay, I'm gonna put it on pause because it's not clear what in the name of sweet holy hell is happening. This is, you don't know if this is troll sarcasm comedy or if this is legit institutionalized insanity. The part that really got to me here is about halfway through, where they say that we try to believe that being trans is unnatural. Listen to this.
Unnatural, but phobes would love to have you believe that being trans.
I have to bring it back. Transphobes would have you believe.
Phobes would love to have you believe that being trans is unnatural, but species that can transition sexes can be found on every continent and in every ocean.
The person is literally comparing themselves to the clownfish. You cannot make this stuff up. This guy, unironically, to the extent that this is intended to be serious, is comparing himself to the clownfish. And they try to convince you that being trans is unnatural. That's species.
Unnatural, but species that can transition sexes can be found on every continent and in every ocean on planet Earth.
Yes, that's true. Like spontaneous impregnation, self-impregnation. Animals that are both male and female and can self-reproduce. It's a very, very advantageous feature in nature. It is wholly absent from the so-called trans movement in adults because nobody is transitioning from anything to anything. You are born XX, you are going to die XX until such time as they can actually come up with bona fide transition, which would turn your chromosomes XX into XY. Until such time that there is not only spontaneous immaculate conception, but auto-conception. Like sharks, I think, can do it. They can reproduce even without a male. You know what happens to species that transition in a physical sense, but not in a biological sense? They go extinct because they do not reproduce, much like the dinosaurs that used to eat rocks to digest their food. Yeah, it worked for a little bit until it killed them. And now that species no longer exists. You know what happens to trans adults who sterilize themselves? They don't reproduce. And some hypothesize that that's exactly why a group of people suffering from diagnosable mental illness who cannot reproduce in order to grow as a population, as a group, because you can't do it through reproduction, you have to do it through recruitment, which is exactly why these people, who some of whom have sterilized themselves to the point of no more reproduction for you, and some call that natural selection, well, they can't reproduce to grow their population, so they must recruit. By flying a trans flag on El Capitan, one of the most quintessential paradigmic rock climbing surfaces on this earth. Dude compared himself to a clownfish. If I do that, I'm called a transphobe. And the idiocy behind all of this. Nobody gives one sweet bugger all where you like to put your pecker, what you like to have put in your vajayjay or your other part there. Nobody gives a sweet bugger all in the most tolerant of senses. You want to do what you want to do as an adult. You want to do who you want to do as an adult to the extent they too are adults and consent. Have fun. I don't want to hear about it. You know, maybe among men, they talk about like the great sex they have with their girlfriends or wives or whatever. All right. There's only a couple of reasons why people even do that. And sometimes it's to artificially show off what a healthy sex life the family has. And then lo and behold, they're divorced 2 years later because one of them had a healthier sex life. Nobody cares, period. And the reason why you're doing that is, look at me. I'm a guy who likes to put my pee-pee in another man's private parts, but he identifies as a woman, so it's not gay. I mean, this is the insanity of the world. With that said, everybody, we take a deep breath and we recite the Lord's Prayer. Not the Lord's Prayer, sorry, the Serenity Prayer. And I forget what it is, but give me the wisdom to make sure that I can distinguish between the things I can control and the things I can't. Ow, 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 I just tore my hair out. That's...